Hi, everyone. I'm Mike from Hummingbot Botcamp, and glad to do the July info session with everyone. I think this will be primarily focused on explaining how our next cohort, which starts in August, works. So please put your questions in the chat if you want. I'll present my screen and go through how it works, go through the info pretty quickly, about 15, 20 minutes, and then I'll leave room for questions at the end. Apologies for the background noise. Fortunately, I'm in a cafe. Hopefully, you can see my screen. And you're welcome to put the chat in the chat box. But otherwise, let's go into it. So today we'll cover a few topics. First one is what is Botcamp, over the structure of the cohort, and kind of like how we teach the course and what it covers. The second part I'll go over who it's for. I think that what we really orient toward people who are interested in market making, both professionally and individually. So we'll also go through a few stories of people who've gone through Botcamp and what they've done afterwards. So first of all, the reason we teach this course is because Fede and I are the leaders of Hummingbot. Hummingbot is an open source project. It's one of the leading frameworks that people use in crypto to build trading bots or something automated that helps you automate your strategies. And started about 5 years ago. Back then, it was a simple command line tool. And today it's gotten more powerful. So today we support over 50 different exchanges, and we recently introduced a new dashboard, which provides a much more graphical element. Now we can use it for backtesting, but you can use it to collect data. So now it's more of an extensible framework rather than a simple tool. So in terms of usage, it's fairly, we've seen usage grow over the years. And so now, in the past year, about $27 billion of volume has been done using Hummingbot, but it's across many different exchanges, many of which are not actually in the official code base. And so we are starting to see the connectors becoming standard in the industry. But the main reason people have used Hummingbot from day one has always been to, as an alternative to hiring a market maker for tokens, and for market makers who are just trying to set up a business. A lot of them started Hummingbot before they built custom technology themselves or hire engineers. So today, I think one reason why we started Botcamp is because Hummingbot now, from a technical standpoint, is much more powerful, but also more complex. So we've always had the original Hummingbot clients, which is what we see, these instances here. Now we have a system where it combines a front end, where it's dashboard. There's a backend API that helps you spawn but also use them to collect data. And finally, there's a deployment repo, which helps orchestrate all these things together to help someone just deploy everything with one command. So a lot of what we cover in Botcamp is how to maximize the potential of the system, because it has gotten to something where it's hard for someone new to just dive in, pick up everything. So the Botcamp team that teaches Botcamp is actually the same team that runs the Hummingbot Foundation. Fede and I are the main instructors. We also act as mentors for office hours. In addition, Huang, who builds connectors for Hummingbot, he's a member of the board. He runs his own business, but he acts as a mentor, teaching and helping people, especially those who are on the DEX side. In addition, the support team for Botcamp are really the same people that are supporting the community on Discord, Carlito, David, Ralph, and Kia. So you can think of Botcamp as kind of like the certification parts of Hummingbot. We have a nonprofit, which is a foundation, and then we have essentially a for-profit educational company that we use to keep the lights on. Let's see. Huang was actually on the call as well. So feel free to just use the chat if you guys want to just ask questions or just say hi. So in terms of what you get from Botcamp, I think we have two parts to what we offer publicly. We have courses, which are pre-recorded content. We have 3 courses right now that we offer for about $200 each. Those basically are the fundamentals, kind of provide a very basic introduction to algo trading, and we offer a structured 4 to 5 hour, time investment that teaches you one type of strategy, like either basic algo trading strategies, market making, or cross exchange market making. And there's an exercise where you're asked to essentially modify a basic script to try to help reinforce that lesson. So, but our main offering is still the cohorts, because those are more in-depth, hands-on experiences over a 5-week period, where you actually do really learn how to customize your own algo trading strategy, and you present it at demo day, and then you get a certification NFT. So the way we kind of structure the offerings is that people who buy the cohort get automatic access to the courses and to the Discord community. It's a private channels where you can converse with other people in Botcamp and get support. Currently, the courses are standalone offerings as well. However, we're going to actually also give access to the Discord channels to the people who buy the courses as well. So basically, it's like, in summary, if you buy the cohort, you get all three. If you buy the course, you get courses and community. So here's how a timeline for our next cohort looks like. We've really started to focus on market making because we want to make sure we offer business value. And I think market making is probably one of the main ways people can monetize using Hummingbot afterwards. So in week 1, we go through a basic fundamental intro to market making, really make sure people understand the fundamentals of what a market making algorithm looks like. In week 2, we dive into more kind of the theoretical fundamentals of how professional market makers approach it. The main models that kind of like they use is called Avlana and Stoikov. So we look at how that model works, what are the theoretical implications of like how to manage inventory risk, how to manage volatility risk, and essentially how to use Hummingbot to express those views using actual code. Starting in week 2, we start offering weekly office hours. So these are sessions that long sitting, and each one is recorded and published online as well. And we try to basically offer people help to help them build their custom strategy, which they're presenting them with. But then week 3, from a live session perspective, we start covering the DEX landscape. So right now, this is a new element that we added to the recent cohorts. And the idea is to give people, a look at what's changed now that there are, things like Uniswap and, comes with both like standard AMMs as well as concentrated AMMs, as well as lending and borrowing. So, I think we'll look at kind of like what market making looks like on that side of the world and how it intersects with the traditional. And then finally, in week 4, we leave that for advanced topics because it really depends on what people in the cohort gravitate toward. This could be deploying Hummingbot, many bots in production, could be looking at different type of more advanced types of strategies, incorporating external data, machine learning, those types of things. But this tends to change every cohort. And then finally, the 5th week of Botcamp, the demo day, where everyone cohort presents the strategy they built. Typically, we see over between 7 to 10 presentations, depending on how many people actually finish in time. And then the best strategy gets a special kind of cohort winner NFT. So this is what people kind of get when they complete Botcamp and present a demo day. So in the last public cohort, we had 10 people present 9 strategies with the team. And so each person got this NFT as well as a certificate that they can publish on their socials. But I think, and there's also a video of what they presented at demo day, which I'll link to in the video description afterwards. So I hope that gives you an overview of what Botcamp is from a content perspective. If you guys have any questions in the chat, please feel free to go through it. I think that one question is kind of like the balance between theory and practice. I think in the past cohorts, we're actually doing our 8th right now. We've in the past we've kind of focused more on the application, like how to actually set up and code up different types of bots. That's still a part of the program, but in response to feedback, we've added more theory over time. So that's kind of why we've added the theory part to really explain how the Avlana and Stoikov strategy works and kind of why you should be doing things like shifting mid-price or adjusting spreads based on volatility. In addition, this time around, we've also added the on-chain liquidity part because it's becoming a more and more important part of the desk landscape. People are hiring market makers specifically to provide on-chain liquidity. And so whether you're approaching this from either individual, algo trading standpoint, or when you actually want to start marketing business, I think understanding that how the AMM world works, how to place liquidity in ranges, how to manage those risks, I think is important part of it. So that's kind of why we added that piece. Basically, I think we're trying to cover both technical part as well as the theory part. So if you basically buy Botcamp, you can kind of like pick and choose. Like so that's kind of why we have office hours that are run separately. So people who are more interested in the theory can come to mind. People who are more interested in actually getting their code for the strategy can attend Fridays. So feel free to drop more questions in the chat. More questions. So let's go into who it is for. And I think to me, the Botcamp is really able to actually get into market making, either for yourself, either working for a company or as get a job, or actually you can start as a market maker afterwards. So basically, this is kind of like just a traditional bigger view of how market making looks like and how it looks like in TradFi versus crypto. So market making is fundamentally the ability to provide liquidity for an asset. And in TradFi, traditionally, it was done by Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan with the support of a new IPO. Like when Uber IPO'd, JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, I believe, the underwriter, they did market making as part of the underwriting process. Then afterwards, after an asset starts trading a lot, then it becomes something that a trading desk at a bank would just actively trade. And so I used to work for Citibank. We would trade basically various credit derivatives. And so we would make a market in these CDS contracts and other types of derivatives based on that. And finally, on the buy side, you can basically just provide liquidity to all the exchanges. This is actually very similar to what people are doing today in crypto. The main difference between these two roles is that on the sell side, you're kind of like, you have to focus on certain tokens or certain assets, certain stocks or certain credits, because your job is to make a market there. On the buy side, you can pick and choose. You can choose which exchanges you want to participate in, which assets you buy and hold, because you're just trying to make money. Whereas on the sell side, usually it's like people come to you for liquidity in this specific asset, which is why you're focusing on that asset. I think the crypto world, it actually shakes out very similarly. So in the institutional world, I think there's different market making techniques, but the more popular one, something I call contract market making, which is basically either an exchange or a token, will pay a market maker. And they will basically say, here's a contract. We'll pay you maybe like a few $1,000s per month. And then if you maintain liquidity in this range for these markets. So this is going to be very small. Like small firms are doing this. Actually, one of our former mentors called Yella runs Influx, which is a market maker, and it's really just and his co-founder who is running as a startup, and he uses Hummingbot, and he basically set up a market making business using Hummingbot. That's an example of a small shop. But then you have the largest firms like Coin Alpha or Keyrock that provide this at scale for Avalanche or like a Ripple or the largest companies in crypto. In addition, exchanges also are interested in this business, so pay for market makers, provide liquidity, both big and small exchanges. There used to be these other two models I'm not going to go that much into because these are really done by really large market makers like Jump or Wincommute. But basically, these two models are very similar to kind of like the sell side market making models that exist in TradFi. In addition, I do think there's a big opportunity now to just provide market making and basically do the same thing as almost like buy side prop trading, but as individuals. And so part of the reason for this is that platforms are providing rewards or incentives for people to provide liquidity. So a lot of people, Hummingbot started the miner platform, which provides rewards on order book exchanges. But now there's also many liquidity incentives that different chains, different DEXs, lending protocols are providing. And so that's what's fueling a lot of activity on the DEX side, are people just, basically doing yield farming, so to speak. I see someone who's asking to record this meeting locally. I would say, because we're gonna publish this on YouTube, I'm gonna deny that recording because we'll make the recording available anyway, so you don't need to record it. But overall, I think with Hummingbot I think is basically a tool. It's a framework, and so you can create bots and do these things yourself, but it's probably going to be a lot easier if you start with an open source framework like Hummingbot. But I do think there's also a lot of theory that both math as well as finance theory that goes into it, which is why we've added the theory piece of Botcamp to make sure people understand not just how you kind of like run this bot, but how do you actually make money, as a business with this afterwards. But overall, I would say, it really focuses on Hummingbot. Who is it for? I think it's for people who want to make money by market making, either as a business, either working for a quant trading or market making firm, or you want to do it yourself. So let's get into a little more details and more specifics on what you can do afterwards. So I didn't prepare any slides for this, but I'll just talk through a few kind of like success stories of the folks who've taken a cohort and what they've done afterwards. And if anyone is on the line who's a former cohort student who wants to jump on stage, so to speak, and talk about your experience, we're happy to do so. So some of the folks, I think a lot of the folks that take Botcamp are doing so for professional reasons. They're looking to get a job, a quant trading firm, or a market maker afterwards. That has definitely happened. So I mentioned Yella, who was an employee at Coin Alpha. He started his own market making firm afterwards, after he kind of understood how market making works. And so then we have other people who've taken Botcamp, like Jackie, former student, who then got a job as a trader at Coin Alpha afterwards because he, kind of learned how to do it. He wasn't a coder before, but he learned enough on the technical side in order to get up to speed. And then afterwards, he basically got a job at market maker. In addition, we've seen a number of people who've taken Botcamp and afterwards started contributing to the Hummingbot community. But we're essentially a nonprofit. We have many exchanges that want to build connectors, into us, and so we get bounties for that. And they also kind of build connectors for themselves as well. So a number of people in the community who take Botcamp have started to earn bounties by creating connectors or documentation strategies for other exchanges and other partners. And then finally, we've also seen instances of students with others afterwards to work on some type of trading operations. So I know, I'm not sure if Fury's on the line, but I know he and some other students have done that. And just kind of like, I think we try to encourage that as well in the Discord channels, have people introduce themselves in the private channels and hopefully meet up and try to work together if they have similar interests. So one question is, if there's knowledge on how to make money, why do you share it instead of directly exploiting it? Yeah, exactly. I think one person mentioned Solid Alpha. Also, I would say that we are exploiting it as well. But there's kind of like the fundamental techniques versus like exactly what your strategy configurations are. So, for example, what we share is what market making is. How, let's say, a strategy where you're providing liquidity to one exchange and hedging another one. That's called cross exchange market making. So we share exactly how that strategy works, what are the risks, how to identify markets, how to code up the strategy. What we don't share is exactly which exchanges we're running our bots on, what our parameters are, and all those things. So I hope that illustrates the difference between sharing the strategy logic versus sharing the actual alpha. But to answer your question, we are running bots ourselves as part of Botcamp. But this is actually, I think it's actually a fairly recent operation. For us, we do it more for experimental purposes, but we heavily dog food on product. That helps us provide better educational content. However, the main reason we're first and foremost an educational company is because this is why we're doing it. This is why we're in Hummingbot. Our goal is to democratize HFT. I'm sure we could make a lot of money just running on hedge fund, but for us, I think this is a more appealing job. But yeah, so I think hopefully I can go to more details on what people have done afterwards. But in a nutshell, I think that Hummingbot and taking Botcamp should give you the fundamentals of how to basically start a market making operation, either for yourselves or at a professional level. So I hope that leave some time for Q&A. I do want to mention that our next cohort starts in August 6th. So we currently have an early bird pricing, which I think is $2,400 for the cohort. And that, I believe that ends on Monday. I think it's Sunday night this time. So if you want to sign up, I encourage you to sign up over the next few days. Otherwise, the price is going to jump to the regular pricing, which is $3,000. We currently have about 10 people registered for the cohort. I think our ideal class size would be something around 20-25. So we'll probably cap it if the numbers reach that level. So I encourage you to sign up before spots fill up. A couple of different questions I want to answer. So is there a registry of certified users? Yes, there is. Let me actually share that right now. So there is we do have a list of users, I think on the registry somewhere. Yeah, so we do have a certification list section that we maintain on our website of the people who are certified. So these are not just the people who signed up and taken a cohort. These are everyone who have actually built a custom strategy and presented it at demo day. So these are the people for this basically since inception, since cohort 1. And so we've each of these have gotten a certificate and as a NFT.
One thing, Mike, that I would like to add regarding to the previous question is that I don't know. I have seen a lot of people talking about alpha, seeing a lot of things regarding to trading bots, But the thing of what we are teaching is more like from an engineering perspective, what is a bot? What is a process? How you need to think about the management of your orders, of your inventory. There is a lot of things that are not relating to making money or not making money. That are more like how to think and how to create a process that is stable and you can have Argentina. It is stable and you can rely on it. Probably what you're going to learn is, okay, these are different ways that you can make money. This is a way that I can lose money with a market maker, but get more money from the contracts. There are like different things of how you can make money on this landscape. Sometimes you have strategies that are more utility strategies, but everything is like very easy to talk about as strategies, but difficult to implement as a real bot or as a real strategy. And that is what we are teaching. It's more like, okay, how you can deploy how you can think what the strategy is going to be, how you can put that idea on a flowchart, how you can start coding that idea in case that you want to code, or how you can just run bots to keep the liquidity on the books. Those are like different things that when the people talks about trading bots, always think that it's just one having a signal and making money. That is not what bot trading is. There is a big landscape there.
Yeah. I see Christopher asked about keeping bots online and having alerts when things are failing. Yes, absolutely. Actually, so this is actually why we have things like Hummingbot integration built in. And now with basically back in API, you can actually build a lot more custom alerts yourself. A lot of these things are actually things we can get into in office hours because it's like we have to kind of, in the live sessions, we try to focus on fundamentals and try demoing exactly how to do it for everyone. But if you want to get into actually kind of like the mechanics and of like operating a fleet of bots in production, you have to get into office hours because this is actually what we do to test Hummingbot, and also with real capital on different exchanges to actually try to make money as well. So we're very well versed, I would say, in a lot of the operational aspects of the bots. A couple some more questions I can answer maybe along the way. Pablo asks, is there usually more money in market making or discretionary trading? I assume what you mean by discretionary trading is like kind of like it's algo trading, either if there's anything. So in general, I would say, and the reason why market making, is high, can be very profitable, is because you're basically providing service. That service is liquidity. So it's kind of like if there is a presence of incentives. And when I say incentives, it means could be rewards, could be rebates provided for providing on the maker side versus taker side. It could be VIP rebates for achieving a certain level of volume, or it could be points from getting some airdrops. All these are essentially incentives for providing liquidity. And so I think of it as like you can take advantage of it using different strategies. You can use arbitrage strategies, you can use directional strategies, or you can do pure market making, like where you're providing liquidity into a range. All things being equal, you want to take advantage of incentives wherever possible, where they're around. So when I think of market making, I don't think of like market making versus discretionary trading. It's more of like I have assets in these different places. How do I maximize the return I get on them? And so if I can maximize them by doing market making here, because I'm making crazy rewards, for instance, that's what we use capital. But I may also want to balance that with running a directional bot somewhere else because I'm expressing a different type of view. But overall, if you look at your portfolio as like a basket of different views, then I would say this is kind of how a professional fund look at it as well. I mean, one question from Ding Sen is the course intro says coding experience is not required. I assume we'll use dashboard for the cohort. And is a dashboard project flexible enough that we can create or sell market making strategies? That's a great question. I think that question I can answer that in a way that elaborates. So basically, the reason why coding experience is not required is because we now have a dashboard where you can just run Hummingbot with one command and use it to backtest a market making strategy deploy. So basically, it's like you can be a market maker without needing to code. However, if you want to create your own strategy, which is like add custom logic, and so that's probably a new controller. If you want to create a new controller, you likely will need to know some Python. So I think the difference is now with dashboards, you can actually operate a market making strategy. You can configure it, change the tune the parameters, backtest it, those things without having to code. But if you want to customize it, you'll likely have to code. A few more questions. Jensen asks, is it possible to create our own front-end dashboard and connect with back-end? Absolutely. We're actually looking forward to more kind of community, clients, if you will. We're actually planning to build our own kind of Condor Telegram bot afterwards. It's kind of like basically a simple Telegram-based version of dashboard that also connects to back-end API and does different things. We actually did the separation back-end to front end on purpose to allow the community to build work. And also the broker, Fede can talking to the broker if you guys want, but we think the broker system is really good at kind of like decomposing, allowing the system to communicate with different parts of the system without kind of like building this one single monolithic thing.
One more thing based on the previous question, that is about the custom strategies. We said that it's no coding required because the basic of what we're trying to teach in this cohort is what is market making, how you can do market making, more like this type of knowledge. And at the end, you have to create a strategy and run a strategy if you are not technical enough. But if you are technical enough or you are a developer, you can use office hours with me, because in the office hours is like open to the questions that the users have. And usually I do live coding and I can code strategies, or I don't know. The last public cohort, we call it a data feed of liquidations, because one guy wants to use a liquidations feed on the strategy. So we did 40 minutes of live coding of how to integrate the WebSocket channel into a data feed and start consuming it into the strategy. So everything is very fast and good when you have clear what you want to do. If you don't have clear what you want to do, that is when it's not too much useful. But if you have very clear, okay, I would like to do this, and this, for me, it's really easy to code it because I'm very familiar with Hummingbot, and it's a very good use of time of the office hours.
Yeah. In general, the office hours are designed to allow people to basically ask questions to me or Fede or Huang beforehand, and we can dive into specifics on some subject, because we all have different kind of strengths in domain expertise. Fede understands the engineering architecture hung out really well. He also runs a lot of kind of directional and grid type strategy. For me, I'm more of a theory. I worked in finance for a long time. I understand the finance and market making. I also do a lot of on-chain market making. So I would say I'm pretty degen in terms of strategy. So anything you guys want to learn on the AMM side. And so I think I would say, actually this kind of segues well into the question that Rafal had, which is this more for more advanced traders, coders, or for beginners? So I do think we try to serve both beginners as well as more advanced people, because the beginners, it's kind of, we offer the courses for people by the cohorts, so they can use a cohort, use the courses to get up to speed. In the live sessions, we tend to focus more on the fundamentals, because I think we're adding the on-chain piece into it right now. I think that part would be probably very new for anyone who comes from a traditional marketing background. And so I would say, because market making now today in crypto is kind of a combination of the traditional order book-based market making world and all these new exchange types that Hummingbot integrates into, like perpetual DEX, as well as both standard and concentrated range EMMs, like Uniswap, Radium, and Uniswap V3, as well as lending protocols like Aave and Convo. And so the world you're seeking is kind of like this divide between these two worlds that I think, in part because we've connected both DEXs and sections, Hummingbot is just, we see both sides. And so that's why we've been adding more of the on-chain piece into the cohorts in order to try to give people some exposure to that world. So for example, I'll show during that course how to set up, how to basically set up AMM positions, how to calculate ranges, how to hopefully make some easy yields. But then for the traditional market making order book course modules, we try to teach classic market making techniques, how to skew your prices, how to manage inventory risk, how to basically understand the technical jargon of order books, priority. But I think overall it's hard to cover everything for everyone. So it's kind of why we try to really focus the office hours on delving into the technical details that people want. and a lot of sessions on covering the basics. I think one note that Jensen mentioned that his company has different systems, would have a custom front end. We would support people who want to build custom things on top of Hummingbot. I think we also have a vibrant community of developers as well. If you want to hire someone that understands Hummingbot already and just have them try to design it for you. So you guys can also check the Dev Wanted channel on our Discord, where both developers and community partners can match up. Chris, I think C. Mercer asks, do we need to complete the 3 courses prior to the course starting? I would say it's not a requirement, but I do think if you're new to kind of like algo trading or market making, and also if you're new to Python, it could give you a basic intro. I'll probably give you a bit of a leg up on everyone else, because you're less likely to be overwhelmed by all the content. So the 3 courses, basically each one's like 4 to 5 hours, and cover the basics of algo trading, market making, and cross exchange market making. So Chris asks, we cover perpetual market making as well as focus and spot. Yes, we do focus on both. So now actually the new V2 version of Hummingbot, our new strategies are optimized to run on both. So basically you can create a strategy and you can run that on either perpetual exchange or on a spot exchange. And it basically uses a similar set of logic to take profit and stop losses on both. Or you can choose to just run it on a spot exchange and not use those features and basically act as. Do you offer payment options according to countries? No, because it's a global program. It's just an online course. We have the same cost for everyone. The cost can be high based on where you are, but I would say compared to a lot of other trading or coding boot camps, and kind of given the hands-on nature of the program in small batches, I think the price point is actually almost attractive relative to other options out there in the market. PCB asks, how easy is deployment to us, and what are the cost estimates to run 10 bots? I would say actually AWS deployment should be very easy right now. We're actually planning to create more tutorials just as a part of Hummingbot to show how you can do this just, in one simple video. I would say the cost depends on how many bots you want to run one instance and those kind of things. But generally Hummingbot is not very data intensive, and so you can with one instance you can actually run multiple strategies. So to be honest, I would say if you're just getting set up, you can probably run Hummingbot on the cloud for less than $20 to $30 a month. I want to say running 5 different strategies on. And Huang provided some specs in terms of the AWS on the chat as well. For on-chains, the focus on AMM V2 and V3, which protocols, we only have 1 hour, one session for the on-chain piece. So I try to cover basically the fundamentals of what you can do on-chain. I think of it as 4 things you can do: staking, swapping, providing liquidity to V2 or V, and finally borrowing and lending. So I would say the session we just did on this went 2 hours, and we try to cover everything. But so we try to cover I would say pretty much all the fundamentals of DeFi essentially in that module. So File asks, can you help me find an idea for a strategy? Yes, we actually also basically can generate ideas. So I would say just as a I think strategies kind of fall into various buckets. So there's probably 3 core strategies that will deploy: arbitrage, where you're basically taking advantage of the arbitrage differences between different exchanges. There's market making, where you're providing liquidity. And typically, I would say providing liquidity, usually it's because there's some type of incentive, in that market, or some type of rebate. That's kind of why you're picking that particular venue, that particular market versus other markets provide liquidity. Essentially, it's in a world where there's certain markets that provide other ones that you can pick and choose. So that's why a lot of market making is on the miner platform, where there's liquidity rewards, on exchanges where there's essentially zero maker fees, which essentially is also. And then finally, directional strategies can be either expressing a view, hey, I want to go long this asset, but I want to trade it in this range. So it's when it goes down, I want to buy it. Maybe for instance, for Solana right now, I'm pretty bullish with Solana. So when the price goes down, I want to buy a lot. When the price goes up, I don't want to sell a lot. So you can kind of construct a good strategy that's customized around this. Actually, Faye and I are testing one right now for use ourselves around this. And then so we have arbitrage, we have market making, we have directional, and then finally, I think there's a lot of I would call it rebalancing or index type strategies where you're trying to maintain a balance of these assets. And then, but because if you're running different bots, then sometimes your strategy gets out of whack. So you can kind of set more utility strategies to do and to get back to your inventory balance, but without doing the market order all at once, so that you're like hitting market. So overall, I think there's just various use cases for automating the trading out there, whether it's arbitrage, market making, directional / grid, or rebalancing. Let's see. Okay. So finally, I think Chris, Steve Mercer, I think it's Chris, asks for the cohort calendar, what are the time zone of live classes or the class of the weekend? It's a great question. So we try to have all these 5 live sessions in demo day. So all of them are, I believe, 7 a.m. EST on Tuesdays. And so the reason we pick that time, it's 10 a.m. EST, 7 a.m. PST, which is, I think, around 10 or 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night in Asia. And I think it's also about in the afternoon for people in Europe. So that time tends to be basically a couple hours earlier than now, tends to be the best time zone we found for people around the world for live sessions. And so we have a class every Tuesday. Office hours, it depends on the time zone of each person. So Fade is in Argentina, I'm in California, in Vietnam. So we try to structure our office hours differently to accommodate. So we reach out to we try to actually have our office hours, each one's like a different time zone. And then both office hours as well as the live sessions are recorded. And so the live sessions are on Tuesdays. The office hours are usually Fridays or Mondays. I think James asks, so he's been trading for a while. He needs a good strategy that requires a screener. They're training to available. So I think I would say, if you're not a developer, you may have to wait a little bit, because we're actually planning to add some screener utilities to Hummingbot to help people kind of create and create indicators. But basically, the Hummingbot architecture is set up well for this, because now with the new V2 framework, the data piece from the execution piece. So now, like, if you create a screener, you can kind of just like create a signal. And now you can, especially the directional strategies, we are planning to add more screeners in the future, so that you can see examples of how, we created an indicator, create a custom screener, and then plug that into a bot. It's not able yet though, but if you're a developer, you're working on it, and you take a cohort, we can probably help you. But I think one note, however, is that this cohort is not designed for us to provide custom consulting work. Whereas we're not going to build. We will provide examples in office hours, and there might be some open source examples in repo we can point you to. However, if you're not a developer, unfortunately we can't handhold you through the developer process.
One thing to mention, in case that you would like to have a custom development, is like you can take Bootcamp, you can get ideas about that. But we also have bounty systems in Hummingbot that you can use in case that you like to have something custom. Actually, I think that, Mercer, that is from ETC, just posted about creating a connector. One of the previous Bootcamp students is interested in that. He's a lead software developer, so he's a good developer. But in case that you would like to have something custom, you can take that.
Oh, hey, Alex. Alex has been testing our V2 framework for a while. When he's thinking about training, are the plans to introduce paper training to V2? I would say, I think we've thought about it, but to be honest, it's not in the works right now. It's more because we plan on spending that time improving the backtesting framework. Trying to make backtesting easier to use, handle more scenarios. Because we think that, it's just like, I think backtesting is more generalizable. Paper trading, what we found is it's hard to make that work across every exchange, because it kind of depends on some exchange characteristics, and it really doesn't give you a great view of what's going on, because you can't really simulate exactly what happens in the order book. And so it's kind of like, I think, people offer it, but if you look at professional firms don't really use paper trading. They go from backtesting to using a small amount of capital, using a lot of capital. And so we want to create something that's professional grade. So even though I would say you see paper trading from like free trade and some others like more like retail spots, you rarely see it. You rarely see professional marketing as well. So I think what we're building is a professional. So I hope that answers everyone's questions about Botcamp. I should mention, was one last time. I think there's the cohort pricing goes up on Monday. I think currently it's 2,400 for the early bird, and I think if you use the consensus 2024 code, you can still get 20% off that. So I encourage you to both use a code and sign up for cohort for the next 3 days if you're planning on taking it. But we're going to offer you can still get the regular pricing afterwards, and we ideally want to try to end up with hopefully 20 to 25 people in the next cohort and have a really good experience. But one last programming note is that we are planning to focus more on courses after this, because we think it would be better for the community if we really spend some time creating good prepackaged courses based on the content we're teaching in the cohorts. Currently the courses, there's only 3 of them, but we plan on adding more. So that's why I think we'll probably likely only do one more cohort after this year, and slow down the frequency after this year to focus more on the courses. Great question. The course will not be free for the past cohort members, unfortunately. The new ones the current ones are free. The new ones, we're not gonna, we can't make them free. We don't know what we're creating yet. So we'll kind of for the new course, we'll definitely create one on directional trading that incorporates new backtesting framework. We'll probably create one on on-chain liquidity, but we're also planning to try to make it to try to ask questions and try to make sure we're creating content that the community wants. So that's why we can't make them free for past cohort members, because it'll be based on what people are interested in. Actually, Chris mentioned courses specific to protocols and exchanges. Yeah, we're actually working closely with Rip and a few other potential ecosystem partners. So that is something we're considering. And we actually might. But I think right now we're trying to focus our efforts on providing something for everyone in the community, rather than just specific goals. But I think for the larger ones, I think we are going to probably make a more significant. But I think that's also something the community can do as well. I think we do think that, for instance, one reason why we add dashboard is that I think it makes sense for a DEX to create a custom page, and be this is our DEX metric. Here's how you can, push a button and you customize a config that's, runnable on our exchange. So I think we'll try to, maybe work with, individual of our DEX partners to create a custom page. Alexi asked, if I take a non-online course, can I write a V2 strategy based on them without being a programmer? I think what you mean is if you buy. So the courses right now actually don't get into the V2 framework. They teach the fundamentals of different strategies, but using scripts, which are basic Python scripts that use basically the V1 Hummingbot. Okay. To get into details, scripts are also the launchers for V2 strategies as well. But these strategies are more complex because they take advantage of them for the market data providers, the executors, all that kind of stuff. We haven't gotten into the courses because the courses were created before we did this big migration, which just happened in the last release. One reason why we kind of want to go back and revamp the courses is to actually add all this stuff in there, but that likely won't be present for another couple months. So to answer your question, I would say, I think if you buy the course now and wait, let's say about maximum 3 months, then the B2 content will be there, but they're not there yet. But we do plan on keeping the courses kind of continuing updated with the basic content. So for example, the market making course will have information on how to do market making with dashboard and V2 in a few months. However, we're also going to add other courses on, let's say, AMMs or directional trading or backtesting in addition on top of that. But the one programming note is that the courses will likely, the content will be a bit behind what we're teaching the cohorts, because the cohorts are always going to be using the latest and greatest stuff we have in Hummingbot. And it'll take some time for us to. So I think we're pushing the hour mark. So I think we're end the info session here. If you have more questions, please join our Discord and post them in the Botcamp public session. And as a reminder, you can also join our monthly community calls that we do on Discord as well. We have a community call every month on Discord. You can also join there and just join the community on a more regular basis. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining this info session, and we'll post this on YouTube afterwards. And